we are gonna pick some turnips and some radishes, and we are gonna make an awesome supper. Alright, let's cook supper together. First thing, I'm going to crank this up to about 425. So I am ready to cook supper. I thought I would give y'all a little sneak peek of things we actually eat on a regular basis, how we actually use some of the food we grow. So tonight we are going to cook chicken leg quarters. These are chickens that we grew, and I've got to admit to y'all, I love roasting things, especially in the winter, because it warms my kitchen up. That heat that you don't want in the summer is actually a welcome thing in the winter after you've been outside in the wind and the cold. So I roast as many things as I can in the winter. So we're gonna roast these leg quarters. So I'm gonna roast them. Another thing, I love this stainless steel cookie sheet. If you ever get a chance and run across one, a lot of times what you can buy in the store is aluminum, and I just don't love aluminum. I do have some aluminum stuff. I don't love it. It kind of leaches into your food, and it just doesn't keep as good a quality. But if you run across a stainless steel one, I highly recommend it. So we are just gonna season these up. These came off some of our good chickens we raised this summer, and one per person is a lot. A lot of times Emily and me won't even eat a whole one, so that's a lot of chicken. So we're gonna season those up, and then maybe drizzle just a tad of olive oil and pop those in the oven. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this on here. This is just rosemary and garlic seasoning. A lot of times I use my own, but I'm taking the easy way out tonight. This is actually a seasoning blend, but I look and make sure when I buy these they don't have added sugar. That's one thing I don't like in my seasonings. There's enough sugar everywhere else. That looks pretty good. So I'm gonna salt these a little bit. I'm not a super big measurer or recipe person. I may never make the same thing the same way twice. I do love me some salt though, and so I buy this Redmond's real salt. I buy it through Azure. I just really think salt brings out the best flavor of food. So it's probably one of my biggest downfalls is probably too much salt. But is there such a thing, really? So let's pop these in the oven. And next is these. I'm going to peel these turnips and radishes, and we're gonna roast those too. So I am just literally going to chunk these up. Probably gonna do it kind of like this, carefully. And then I'm just going to, nothing fancy about this, I'm just gonna chunk these up where they will roast. You could do it in little cubes or however you want. I'm just a get her done type cook. So my food might not be pretty, but my goal is always for it to taste good. So I love growing stuff all year round and being able to cook things fresh from outside. Sometimes we think about like eating in season, like we should be able to go out all winter and pick everything, and that's not really eating in season. Eating in season is picking what's growing, and this time of year it's like things like this, like turnips and radishes and if you're fortunate, maybe cabbages and broccolis and cauliflowers. I don't have any of those, but different types of winter greens and things like that. So, and you may think, I don't even like radishes. I've thought that before, but this is a really good way for someone who doesn't like radishes. So I'm also throwing in some turnips with this. These are just purple top turnips that we actually grew all this for ground cover. Not necessarily ground cover, but like to feed our soil. If y'all aren't watching Haas Tools Row by Row, the garden show on YouTube, it is so informative, and that's where we heard about planting things like that go down into your soil and then like bring up the nutrients. And so that's where we got these seeds, and we're trying to implement some of that planting because it'll help us next year. It'll bring some of those things that are deep down because we've depleted our soil, and it'll bring them up and help us grow a better garden. Another thing we're gonna do is, you can see these are not struggling. That's a huge turnip, but we're actually gonna get a soil sample, and that's something you might want to consider too. Is most places have an extension office. In our state, it's by county, and so every county has their own extension service, and they will do the soil testing for you. And then if maybe you've not gotten a soil test before, when you get it back, it's going to look like it is written in like Latin or something. You almost need like a degree to know what it's even saying. So, but they will help you interpret it as well, and know what you need to put on it. And that doesn't necessarily have to be something super expensive. It could be something like you just need lime on your garden, which lime is fairly inexpensive of the things that you might need to be doing to feed your soil. So I would say try that. So I'm actually going to cook one of those turnips because it's so huge. One of them wound up being kind of gross once I got it in here, and I'm going to save this last one for breakfast this week. I'm going to kind of shred it up and make almost like a hash brown, really healthy hash brown. So I'm actually going to save that and just pop that in the fridge. So let's put olive oil on these and season these up. This is one of my favorite olive oils. It's from a local place to us, and I'm actually going to take y'all there one day and do some filming of her store. You can order it online. This is my favorite one she has too, Tuscan Herb, and she's got these lids. These pop down in there, and it helps you. I don't know if y'all can see down in it, but you'll see in a minute. It doesn't just pour out, just kind of drizzles on here like this. I love that because I can get it all good and coated without it just being swimming in oil. So I'm just gonna drizzle that on there, and then I'm gonna put some seasoning on them. This has got a tad of spice to it, but I just found this at Walmart and it's so good. Paleo powder. It's sugar-free, gluten-free, MSG-free. It says it's Whole30 approved, so you can, if you've ever done Whole30, that means it's pretty basic. And I love spices. I make a lot of my own concoctions, but I like to buy them too and just have all kinds of different flavors. So I'm going to spice these up just a little, and then I'm going to add some extra salt on there, because once you roast vegetables, it takes just a good little bit of salt or they just taste kind of bland. So I like to get them good and salted. There's quite a bit on this pan, and I'm not going to toss them. I'm just going to kind of cook them, and then I'll kind of toss as I go. I'm also going to fry some cabbage just in a little bit of olive oil, not a lot, or maybe even some coconut oil. I don't know yet. Trying to get away from cooking olive oil at high temperatures. Just the more I read about it, they say don't do that. Also like sometimes to put a little bacon in a skillet and cook that and then throw my cabbage in. That gives a really good flavor. But for tonight, I'm not going to add meat into it. I'm just going to cook just another veggie side dish. And y'all, if I had to pick one vegetable that was my favorite, this might be it, or it would definitely be up there very close. I love cabbage. Do y'all? It's just so good. You can have it so many different ways. I can eat it breakfast, lunch, or supper. So I'm gonna cook this. I have been really trying to eat healthy, and my stomach has gotten so much better. I'm so thankful. I actually can have a cup of coffee now. I think I told y'all that on the last video. And one way is eating earlier, but another way is just eating really healthy and smaller portions. So I've really been trying to focus on that. And I just have to tell y'all, I have lost about 10 pounds at this point. So I'm gonna try to keep going. I have quite a bit more I want to lose, and I'm just feeling so good, and so that's really motivating is when you start feeling better. So if y'all are out there struggling with it too, starting's the hardest part. It's just really tough to get started, and then as you lose a little bit and you start to feel good, then that motivation kicks in. That is so motivating when you start feeling better. So do it with me, y'all. We can do this. Let's do it once and for all, and just get as healthy as we can be, because that's our best defense against anything. So let's get this cabbage cooking. Favorite thing for fried cabbage, Bragg's liquid aminos. Finally, leftover baked potatoes. I'm just gonna cut them like this, and I'm just putting them face down in a skillet. I'm gonna put just a little bit of butter in there and warm these up, and then they can dress them up how they want. I'm not even sure I will eat one. Not that there's anything wrong with potatoes, but I think I've got a lot of other things fixed for me to eat. All right, looking good in here. Looks like I probably need to stir around those radishes and turnips. I got it cooking. So that is one of my go-to meals, is just throw some stuff into roast, get some veggies going on top of the stove. Just trying to cook at home, cook healthy meals but that also taste good, and just like I said, save money and do good things for our health. But I do kind of get in a rut sometimes. I tend to cook the same things over and over. So what are some of y'all's favorite suppers? What's your favorite like meats and way to cook them? Your favorite veggies and way to cook those? We do all kinds of stuff. Lots of like just plain farm fresh meat, because that's what we have. I try to take it up a notch sometimes and do a little bit more fancy stuff, but honestly, sometimes my go-to stuff is pretty plain. We're big fans of meatloaf and meatballs, and I like to cook roast because that's just easy. Also, I cut my chickens up this year, so that's why I had those leg quarters. I've used all the chicken breast. That went over so well. I will definitely be cutting those up in the future. It was just so user-friendly, I guess you'd say, rather than just having a bunch of whole chickens. I like those too, but the extra work was definitely worth it. So now it's just let it cook, and I can kind of hang out here. Sometimes while supper's cooking, I'll do comments. Sometimes I'll get it cooking and I will go get cleaned up for the day and just chill out a bit. Just whatever I'm cooking, if I need to babysit it or whatever. So anyway, I'd love to hear some of you guys' favorite weeknight meals. And are you like a by the book recipe, do it the same way every time? Or are you kind of all over the place? Because I'm kind of all over the place. Just like warming those potatoes, I've got to tell y'all, I've never done that before, but I was thinking, what can I do to heat these leftover potatoes up? And so I thought about cutting them up, and I thought, nah, I'll just throw them in a skillet. That's just how I do things. It drives the kids crazy sometimes, because if I make something they really like, I pretty much probably won't make it again the same exact way. But that's just how I do. I just go at it and figure it out as I go. So I'd love to hear y'all's. What do you do?
Looks so good. I think Andrea outdid herself. I like me some fried cabbage. Looks delicious.
What do you think? Are you excited?
I'm excited about the, what is that, radishes and
Turnips.
turnips? I like radishes and turnips. So yeah, I'm ready to eat.
One thing I've heard, let's see your reaction to this. What do you think about honey drizzled on turnips and radishes?
Honey?
Honey.
Honey makes everything better.
So you gonna try it?
Sure. Ooh.
Here's Em. Gonna fix her plate. Did you get your brother?
Yes.
He's coming?
Yeah.
What do you think, Lane?
Food.
Look good?
I like food.
You love food, don't you? Thanks for cooking with me, and we will see you guys on the next one. God bless. Lane, say bye.
Bye.
All right, honest review of the turnips and radishes.
They were great.
Would you eat them again?
I probably will eat them again. That batch. I like leftovers.
Lane wasn't a fan, but I thought they were pretty good. One last thing before I sign off here. If you want to be added to our mailing list, our email list, send us an email, not a comment. Let me say that one more time. Do not leave a comment down below this video with your email address, because that will not make it onto our email list. So send us an email to vwff@yahoo.com. It can just be simply say, add me to your list. That will be plenty, and then we can get you added on there. You won't miss any news on our upcoming meat sales and sales of honey and all kinds of things we'll be selling. So if you want to do that, shoot us an email, vwff@yahoo.com.